So last week I met a mother of 11-year-old and she told me, I spend so much time helping my daughter succeed in school, but sometimes I worry, can she actually handle life's challenges beyond grades, beyond academics? And as I was thinking about this, I felt it's a quiet fear that many of us carry. Let's face it, we all want our children to do well in exams because we believe it will translate into better jobs and better quality of life. But honestly, that's not always the case, right? So when you think back of your own childhood, your own school days, how many backbenchers excelled in life, went on to excel in life, and how many of the so-called toppers really topped the charts outside of school? And right here, this is what is interesting to know and to accept, that marks and ranks don't necessarily predict our future success in life. So today, I'd like to explore something that every parent wonders at some point in time. What should my child really know by the time they turn 12, right? So this is not just about science facts or math formulas, but life skills, right? So the kind that actually are going to shape them into capable, thoughtful, and resilient people. So what are life skills? When we say life skills, we're actually talking about more than just, tying shoelaces or packing a school bag or learning how to change a bulb. We're talking about things like solving problems when things don't go as planned, being resilient and bouncing back after failures, taking responsibility without being told, and navigating friendships, relationships with a lot of empathy and kindness and confidence, and knowing how to express yourself clearly. These skills are not always taught in school. They can also be picked up at home through your everyday relationships, daily routines, and even through conflicts sometimes, right? So these skills grow in the quiet everyday moments, right? For example, when your child forgets to take their homework to school and they learn to face the consequence without you rushing into the rescue. When they struggle with a friend and they find the words to be able to talk it out with them. When they feel disappointment and they don't really run from it but learn to face it head on. So in many Indian homes, parenting still leans towards control. So we do a lot for our children. We remind them, we rescue them, we direct them, we decide for them. But here's the truth. Children don't become responsible because we keep reminding them. They become responsible because they get to practice responsibility on a daily basis, right? So skills develop through practice, not through protection. So the shift that we need to make is this. We need to go from controlling our child's behavior to being able to coach them through life, through their everyday interactions, through their everyday activities. And that means instead of always solving their problems, we need to guide them to try. We need to allow them to try and sometimes fail, right? So instead of saying, don't cry, we could try to say, I know this is hard, why don't we sit and figure it out together? And instead of doing everything ourselves, we can involve them, even if it's going to become messy and slow. By the time a child turns 12, we want them to carry with them a quiet confidence, not because they've memorized facts or topped exams in school, but because they've been building something that is far more important, right? The real world skills that actually matter. So these are the skills that help children face the world with resilience, helps them to think for themselves, relate meaningfully with others, and also handle the little curveballs that life is going to throw at them. So today, let's explore some of the most important skills every child deserves to grow into and how you as a parent can support this journey. So first is emotional strength and regulation. And I believe this is the foundation, right? So children should know how to name their feelings. They need to know how to sit with difficult emotions and bounce back from disappointment, right? So it starts with helping them saying, I'm feeling nervous or I'm feeling really frustrated right now. And instead of acting out or shutting down, and when they do get overwhelmed, because let's face it, they are going to get overwhelmed at some point of time, right? So what they need is not punishment but our presence. And over time, with consistent guidance, they learn to calm themselves, not because we've repeatedly told them to calm down, but because we've shown them how to calm down. Right? Second would be communication and assertiveness, right? Because we want kids to speak up, not rudely, not aggressively, but with clarity and respect, right? Whether it's saying, no, I don't like that, or I need a break. These are powerful life skills, right? And the best way to teach this is to model it at home, right? Show them how to express disagreements respectfully. Teach them how to ask for help without shame and how to listen just as much as they speak. Third would be decision making and problem solving. So often by 12, kids should begin to start making small decisions on their own. It could be something as small as which book to read, how to deal with a friend who has hurt them. It's tempting as parents for us to jump in and fix things for them and give them answers. But what builds true skill is involving them in the process, right? So what do you think we should do? What are some of the possible options? Why don't we sit together and think this through? Right? Skill number 4 would be self-awareness and independence. So children need to slowly discover who they are, their preferences, their strengths, even their quirks, right? So instead of shaping them into who we think they should be, we can create space for them to reflect, right? So simple questions like, what made you proud today? Or what felt tricky? Allow them to build a deeper understanding of themselves. And with that understanding comes independence, being able to pack their own bag, manage a simple routine, or even take responsibility for a mistake that they have made. Fifth is social skills and empathy. So human connection is everything. By age 12, a child should know how to make a friend, keep a friend, say sorry, and also learn to look at the other person's point of view, right? So these are not just manners, they are essential tools. And this is what is required for us to thrive in classrooms, relationships, workspaces. Okay? So we need to grow this ability of being empathetic, which needs to be organic and natural. 6 is coping with challenges. Children don't need a perfect life. They need tools to navigate an imperfect one. So life skills can include knowing what to do when you're feeling bored without turning to destructive habits, knowing how to deal with failure, and how to keep going even when something feels very hard, right? So these moments, even though they may be uncomfortable, they're actually rich opportunities to build grit, not by pushing them beyond their limits, but by walking alongside them as they stretch and they try again. All of this now brings us to how can we as parents support life skills in children, right? So we don't really need to create or have fancy activities and schedules. Life offers us many chances every day to build these skills, and we just need to notice and learn how to use them, right? So one is to be able to slow down. Every skill needs time, so don't rush in to fix or finish your child's task. Allow them to struggle, allow them to try, to fail, and then to try again. That is how confidence is built, right? You could use the language of growth. You figure it out, that was hard, but you didn't give up. What could you do differently next time? So all of these allow them to think beyond their actions. So you could also model what you want them to learn, regulate your emotions, apologize when needed, how you solve problems. And most importantly, don't expect mastery all at once. Children learn through repetition and through relationships. So by the time your child turns 12, they may not have really figured it all out, and that's okay, because they should be on the path towards confidence, capability, and connection. And that happens not by making their life easier, but by being the safe space where they can grow through mistakes. So the next time your child spills their milk or forgets homework or gets into a tiff with a friend, pause and breathe and ask yourself, what life skill can I build today? So you're not just raising a child, you are shaping a living, loving human being with our own love and patience and the wisdom to let them grow into their full potential.